when we look at people who are depressed and unsatisfied with their lives, the number one thing that we can identify is that they work very hard with no real purpose. You know, like working hard is not the only thing that matters. You have to work hard with an outcome in mind. If you show up to work hard and there's no long-term outcome in mind, whether it be more money or whether it be a purpose or whether it be some sort of mission, you're going to get burned out, bro. Like you're going to hate your life because it's just straight monotony with no reward. What is up, guys? It's Andy Frisella, and this is the show for the realists. Say goodbye to the lies, the fakeness, and delusions of modern society, and welcome to reality. Guys, today we have Q&AF. That's where you submit the questions, and we give you the answers. Now, you can submit your questions a few different ways. The first way is,
guys, email these questions into askandy@andyfrisella.com.
Or if you want to call in, you can go click on the Q&AF episodes on YouTube. There's a link right underneath the video. Submit your question, and maybe we'll put you on the show. So you could do that. Now, if this is your first time listening, this is Q&AF. We usually run this on Mondays. And then throughout the week, we have shows within the show. All right, tomorrow we're going to have CTI, which stands for Cruise the Internet. This is where we put topics on the screen, we speculate on what's true, what's not true, what our little theories are on things, and then we talk about how we, the people, have to solve these problems going on in the world. Throughout the week, we may have Real Talk. Real Talk's just 5 to 20 minutes of me giving you some real talk. You might call it a rant. It is what it is. And then we have occasionally 75 Hard Verses. That's where people who have completed the 75 Hard program come on the show. They talk about how their life was before, how their life is now, and how they use the 75 Hard program to get their shit back on track. Okay, if you're unfamiliar with 75 Hard, it is the initial phase of the Live Hard program, which you can get for free at episode 208 on the audio feed. Again, that's 208 on the audio feed. It's not on YouTube. Okay, if you're unfamiliar with Live Hard, it is the world's most popular mental transformation program ever. And you can get it for free, okay? There's also a book. The book is not free, but it is much more in-depth. It's available on my website, andyfrisella.com. It's called The Book on Mental Toughness. It covers the entire Live Hard program, plus a whole bunch of other chapters regarding what mental toughness is and how to utilize it to build the life that you want. Now, one thing about this show that's different than every other show is that we don't run ads on the show. All right. I don't take money from corporations that tell me what I can and can't say, finance the show completely out of my own pocket. And I ask very simply one thing in return, 1.5 things in return. The one thing in return is we ask that if the show brings you value, if it gives you information that you use to help you, if it makes you think, if it makes you laugh, it gives you new perspective, do us a favor and share the show. Okay. The show only grows if you share it. And then the 0.5 is very simple. Buy my shit, like this amazing form energy that you can get everywhere. And if you can't get it everywhere, yell at them about getting it. What was that? That was sounding magical. That's magical.
That's what happens when you let a 60-year-old work a soundboard.
That's what happens when you touch a form energy, especially the grape. Well, sometimes you hear sirens, but
when you steal, you know what I'm saying?
Hey. Buy my shit, support the show, and don't be a hoe.
Share the show.
All right.
Yeah, man.
What's up, dude?
What's going on, bro?
Nothing, man.
Not a whole lot, dude.
I thought that was Zishan's magic carpet riding in, bro. I heard the music. I thought I heard a little snake coming.
Yeah, I hear a different sound. I hear a different sound when I grab one of the grape ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, dude. What's popping, man? We
Nothing,
got Q&As.
Yeah, man. We missed a couple weeks.
Missed a couple of weeks on them.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
Hey, it's a busy time of year. This is the busiest time of year for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got Summer Smash. We have a bunch of new things going on. This is kind of when we're starting to plan for next year. And you know, I got a real job. I'm not a professional podcast. Well, I am a professional podcaster, amongst other things.
Yeah, it's on the resume.
YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
backyard cookouts.
What?
Huh? Yeah.
Professional joke teller.
Is that what it is?
Well, you're not.
Yeah, I'm amateur.
All right.
I am amateur. No,
What's
man,
up with you, man?
Yeah, nothing much, man. Just, you know.
You're looking skinny, dude.
Thanks, man.
What's going on?
Thanks, man. Dude, listen.
Anxiety? Stress?
Crack cocaine.
Crack?
Actually.
Yeah, 'cause we know it's not working out.
No, well, honestly, what it is, dude, I just because I've had a few big pushes where I would go and then fall off, right? And like every time I've approached it a little different, and this time I was like, all right, just do basics, don't eat too much, and I'm getting at least 10,000 steps a day.
It's real simple, dude.
So just move it. Now, like, I've realized though, like, cause I'm down like 35 pounds right now since like March. None of my suits fit. So
the bullying works.
Bullying does work. Yeah. I mean, it's always worked. It was just in different phases, but no, man, just hitting my steps, eating healthy and within reason and just moving, man.
Well, it's working, bro. You look good.
Thanks, man. Yeah. None of my suits fit.
They're too big?
Too big.
Really?
Like, bro,
it's kind of a good feeling, though. That's way better feeling than when they don't fit the other right.
No, 100%. Yeah. There's no doubt. But like, bro, I put this suit on the other day because I had a funeral to go to, and I put this suit on. I looked like a giant cardboard box.
Was it one of your nice suits?
No, but those don't fit either.
Really?
No, we got to call Chad.
They'll redo it. He'll fit them for you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, but like, it'd probably be a lot of fabric coming out. Like, bro, they're wrapping. Like, it's weird. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. So I'm on it. I was 278 this morning.
Good.
And so I'm gonna keep moving, and then just slowly work.
What's the goal?
My goal, I would like to be like 255. Yeah, 260.
When are you gonna start lifting?
That's what I was about to say. Like, I'm gonna start like working that back into it.
When you start lifting, that weight loss is gonna slow down a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's like it's a mental fuck up.
At least for a minute.
Yeah, it's a mental fuck up because
but dude, you can't work, bro. As long as you keep hammering away, the scale doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, what matters is, did you do the shit or did you not do the shit? If you do the shit, even if the scale doesn't say the number you want, you're going to look the way that you should look.
Yeah.
I always used to tell myself, I'm like, bro, I need to get down to 235. Dude, you know what I would look like at 235?
Crackhead.
I would look like I was sick, and I happen to look pretty good at like 255. And that's not the number I like, but that's where I look the best. Yeah. So I don't really pay attention to it.
Where are you at right now?
I'm like 260.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that to me, that like, I think that's when you look the best because you look dense. It's like in a good way.
Yeah, but it's like as I get older, I start to feel better being a little bit lighter. And like it sounds stupid.
No, it doesn't.
Like, it sounds stupid because like you don't think 5 pounds makes a big difference.
It's a big difference.
But it does. I'm so in tune because I've been training for 30 years. I can feel a big difference. Like, if I get like 1 pound above 260, I could feel it. If I get to like 265, I feel like it's a 30-pound difference. So
yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, but it's good because when I was heavier, like, a lot of you guys don't know, but I was 350 pounds. When I was that big, bro, I could gain 20 pounds and not notice it because I was always wearing like shit to hide it. And I was wearing like, workout shit all the time, and you can't really see the difference. You just kind of get bigger and smaller of the same shape. And dude, you could put on, 20 pounds and not really notice it. And I don't know, man. I've struggled with it my whole life, so I'm very empathetic to people who go up and down. And that's one of the benefits of the 75 Hard program, dude. Like, when I really started it 7-8 years ago, living that way. And I mean, dude, I haven't, even when I was not able to work out for like a year and a half for my shoulder thing, I didn't go backwards.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man.
It's about just developing the ability to adhere, not go crazy.
I think that was my thing. Is like, I wanted something that like was sustainable and like not every day. I mean, you know how it is, bro. Like, it's busy, bro. There's more than just podcasts in here. And so it's like, I know I can get 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
Like, no, like even if I'm just chill, okay, cool, let's go outside hit a lap. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's very sustainable right now.
And then once you get a streak going, you don't want to bust it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, it's good though, man. But it is Monday, so let's make some people better today. I got some good ones for you.
All right, good.
I got some. Oh, hopefully we got some call-ins, man. Let's get Jordan on the phone. Let's give him a call. Jordan, what's up, dude?
DJ, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? You are live on the air.
What's up, Jordan?
What's up, Andy? Appreciate y'all taking the call.
Yeah, for sure, bro. How are you? Where are you at right now?
I'm about 20 minutes south of Nashville, down in Thompson Station.
All right.
Oh, that's
cool.
That's
beautiful
area.
country down there.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good spot.
Yeah.
It is.
So what do we got for us today?
All right, I'll give you a little backstory and then I'll ask the question. So about a month ago, tore my pec completely from the bone, just had a surgery, and this is by far the biggest setback, I've ever faced. I knew you had that major shoulder surgery a few years ago too. And one thing I've noticed is that when people go through major setbacks, whether it's physical or whatever else, two things usually happen. They either spiral out, get a lot worse, or, they come back better than they were before. And it's interesting from the people, I've talked to that reach out, they're like either two parties. I'm so sorry this happened, or what an opportunity you've got here. I think you're going to look back and be happy that you went through this. And that's kind of tough to see in the moment when you're going through it. So I guess my question for you is, after a major setback like you went through with your shoulder surgery, something that you can't just get over in a week, take 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, what did you learn about yourself in that process that you didn't know prior that helped you come out stronger and that you still use today?
Bro, it's funny that you bring that up. We were before we called you, we were literally just talking about this.
Yeah, Andy doesn't get these questions ahead of time, guys.
So I was just talking about going through that 2 minutes ago before we called you.
That's perfect timing.
Yeah, for sure, man. Look, dude, I get where you're at. It's demoralizing to have an injury that literally keeps you from training, and it's a completely different thing. One of the things that, and for those of you guys that don't know, back in 2021, I completely destroyed my shoulder. I tore my supraspinatus, my labrum, my rotator cuff, my bicep tendon, and I had to have major reconstructive surgery to fix it. And I went through about an 18-month recovery on it, to where I really couldn't train. It took me 5 months to be able to put my arm over my head. It was brutal. So that's what Jordan's talking about. And at the time that it happened, I was in the best physical shape I had ever been in. And I had worked so hard to get into that shape. And then literally I was in that shape for a week. Yeah. And then that injury happened. And so it was super demoralizing, bro. And so I understand where you're at, dude. I felt that same way. I went through, it almost sounds goofy, but I went through this weird grieving process where I was having these conversations with myself, this is, I can't believe this happened. Why this happened to me? Why I didn't deserve this. I did this. And dude, so you kind of go through this big emotional dip. And I would say that stuck with me for a while. I would say I was like that for a good 6 months. But what I did do during that time is I still did what I could. I did every single thing that I could. In fact, the day I had my shoulder surgery, I did cardio after the shoulder surgery. So I kept moving. I kept trying to eat the best that I could. I did everything that I physically could do. And here's what I can tell you, man. When you're where you are, it's hard. It's hard to see the other side of where you're going to come out. But having gone through that myself, what I learned about myself is that I have made a permanent change in my ability to push through and persevere and handle very tough situations where things don't go the way that I want them to go. When things don't go the way we want them to go, we kind of, depending on who you are, I'm just not used to that. A lot of people, nothing ever goes the way they want it to go because they're not willing to do anything to make it go that way. But when you're willing to do anything that you can to make things go the way you want them to go, and then it still doesn't go that way, it's very frustrating. But here's what I'll tell you, dude. When I look back on that time now, I think it was the ultimate test. I think it was a huge test. We talk about test days being, I don't want to work out today, but did I get it done? and the reality is, you know, that's a small test, but you really don't know what you're made of or who you are until something big tests you, until something that, you know, you can't get through in one day. And that's what you're going through. And I think the way you should be looking at it, dude, is that you're going to push through this. You're going to get to the other side. And I think you will be glad that it happened to you, because it will reaffirm that you aren't a bitch. You know what I'm saying? And just for lack of vocabulary, you know, I think it's a good opportunity to prove to yourself that you're not going to let something major derail you. I think it's a great opportunity to build confidence and trust and self-esteem and worth at probably the biggest scale, because it's one thing to, like, you know, let's say do 75 hard or have some sort of goal and hit it. But it's another thing to have to push through something where you're literally not allowed to do certain things that you would normally do. So, yeah, dude, I understand where you're going through. I went through the same thing. It was a huge mental mind. But after going through it now, I'm physically better than I was then. I'm 4 years older than I was then. That was a big concern of mine too. I was like, shit, dude, like, am I too old to get back where I was? And I've surpassed it, and I'm proud of myself for it. And I think, you know, as long as you keep things in check, you know, do what you can, keep moving, keep your diet going. And really, dude, I think it'll come back sooner than you think.
Yeah, man, I relate to your story so much, because I had just finished 75 hard. I took a group of guys through it. And then I was on like day 24 of phase 1. And basically that ended that second workout. And I'm definitely, you know, mid-30s in the best physical shape of leanness, fatness, strength that I've ever been. And now we're just trying to get back to baseline. It's a pretty big, you know, mind hurdle, like you're hitting on.
Yeah.
To look at back of 20 years of weight training, and now just to get to where I'm at, and my arm's half the size in 6 weeks, and I can't move it. So This has been super helpful. Well,
I will tell you this: it comes back super fast. So you're at your age, your muscle memory is pretty set in. I would recommend, you know, making sure you're eating enough protein, regardless if you're able to train or not. That'll help with muscle wasting, and make sure you're moving, dude. You know, keep as much of the good momentum as you can. One thing I did is I did 75 hard during my injury, but I did it with just 2 cardio workouts a day. So I would just do one inside and one outside. So that allowed me to keep my discipline in check, keep it operating at a high level. And that way, when I healed, I was able to kind of jump right back into it. And dude, you know, we've all seen this before, bro. Like, think of all the people that have an injury like this, and then, you know, like you said, which is what we were talking about before we called you, you know, they go all the way back. They go to literally an untrained human, and, you know, they gain 100 pounds, and then they got to dig out of that hole. And I was just telling DJ and the guys here, one of the things I'm most proud of, and I think you will be too, is that I was able to basically confirm to myself that these changes in who I am are permanent and real. Because if they weren't, dude, I would have been 350 pounds again. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100% get it.
Yeah, bro.
Got a big appetite over here.
Yeah. Just do what you can, and try to keep the habits and the ability, you know, the mental sharpness in check. And I think you're going to be fine, man. It's just frustrating right now, dude.
I do have a little extra on this question.
Sure.
So I did put a lot of, I guess, my mental strength and mental toughness. I guess a lot of it did come from the physical pursuit, and I'm sure you can relate to that too. Did you just dive more into books, not being able to go as hard? Because I'm not a big runner, but I enjoy running, or I do it because it's tough and it trains the brain. But right now, I mean, I can't run for 12 more weeks, you know, and weight training is not coming around anytime soon. So was there any other kind of tool? Did you feel that too, I guess?
Well, for me, dude, you know, my life is pretty hectic every day. You know, I'm always working on new projects. It's just the nature of my life. So I wouldn't say that poured more onto that or even poured more into it either. I personally just did what I could, when I couldn't. And by the way, I didn't run one time. I just walked every time.
Yeah.
And dude, it's not about the physical exertion. It's about the adherence to the pattern. All right. It's about saying, hey, these are my 5-6 things I have to get done today. Did those get done? Yes. And then that contributes to your discipline and it builds that skill set up. So it really doesn't matter, bro, if it's, reading, pouring yourself into a new project or, learning something new. And bro, you know what? This is a great time to learn some new shit. We're going through this big change in society where, AI is becoming a real thing. And, maybe you could use that to pour yourself into something else like that. But I would recommend at a bare minimum, dude, that you keep the structure going the best that you can. That way, whenever you heal, you're very quick to come back. And let me tell you, bro, remember, you're mid-30s. I was 350 pounds at 36. Okay, so you're way ahead of me, bro. So like, just keep that in mind.
No, man, I appreciate it. This was great.
Yeah, dude. Look, I feel you. I understand how hard it is mentally, man. But it's a good test because, dude, there's going to be other things in your life that aren't going to go your way. There's going to be things that happen that, we don't want to deal with, but we have to deal with. And that's just the nature of being a human being. And these kind of things prepare us for the really hard things. And so I would try to look at it like that, brother. And I would, just remember you're going to be fine. You're going to come back better. And you're going through a test, bro. And it's just up to you to pass it.
Man, that's awesome. Again, I appreciate it. I was one of the MSCO OGs, so to speak. I've been listening. That was 24, and I think if you took a look at my life, you'd probably see that. Can't thank you guys enough. You guys keep doing the show. We'll keep sharing it.
All right, bro. I appreciate you, Jordan. Hang in there, bro.
All right, man. Talk soon.
All right,
take care.
Yeah, dude, that's got to be a tough thing, I guess, just battling the awareness of how much momentum you actually have going and being aware enough not to fuck it up when big setbacks like that happen. Mm-hmm. Like, that's got to be the toughest piece of that. Because I feel like a lot of people lack that. Like, they're not realizing like how much steam they actually have moving forward. So it's like, oh, it's whatever. I'll just I'll fall off.
Sometimes these types of situations where you can't do the thing, like can't do it.
Yeah.
Actually create a situation where you appreciate it even more when you're through it. Like one thing, and I didn't mention this on the phone, but I should have, is that going through that, dude, like there's not really a day now that I go in the gym and I'm like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like I'm when I came back from that injury, I mean, I couldn't lift my arm over my head.
Yeah.
I
remember when putting a 10-pound plate on that was a big deal.
That's what I'm saying. I was just getting ready to say that. When I started training again, when I got hurt, I was shoulder pressing 4 plates. Okay. When I started back, I was shoulder pressing a 5-pound plate, 5 pounds. Okay. So, if I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a part of me that was like, how the fuck am I going to get back to where I was?
Yeah.
But lo and behold, I'm back there. So, it's the same shit, bro. You do what you can every day. You stay consistent, you push a little harder, and things happen, man. And it's a good metaphor for life. That's why I love weight training so much in terms of like how parallel it is to your success in life. It's just every day, monotonous shit over and over and over and over again. And, every 2 weeks, you notice a little bit of improvement and a little bit more and a little bit more. And over the course of, a year, you're a completely different human. And it's just a very strong parallel to how business works, which is a whole nother like kind of confusing thing to me because I see a lot of people in fitness who are totally fit. They have all the discipline to, eat the right amount of food, do the training, drink the water, but they suck at everything else. It's like, bro, like it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You have the skill set. You just got to apply it over to here, So yeah, man, it's a test.
Yeah.
You know, are you going to pass it or are you not? And some people do, and some people don't. And I think most people don't. I think most people don't pass the test, and they end up getting worse, and they stay there. And then they tell a story for the next 20 years. Man, I used to be in great shape, but I blew my shoulder out, and then, you know.
In 89, yeah.
Yeah, right. And then you're like, well, yeah, when was that?
Yeah.
Well, that was in 1997. And it's like, well, what the fuck you been
It was
doing?
almost 30 years ago, bro.
Yeah. So, like, it's just, you know, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's a test. You're gonna pass the test or you're not.
I love it, man. I love it. We got it right in. Let's go to question number 2. Guys, Andy. Hi, Andy.
Hi.
I'm an entrepreneur at a local small business in my hometown. I first started 6 years ago at a basic entry-level position, and using the lessons from your podcast, I have moved up all the way to top management under the owner, which I've been for the past 2 years now. My question for you is, where do I go from here? I'm a very ambitious, high-driven individual who wants to keep climbing the ladder, but the owner of the company has seemed to lose his hustle and has actually started downsizing our crew from at one point 9 guys to now 3. I don't want to start over, but I'm nervous that I'll just be stuck in limbo. Any help is appreciated. Thank you for your time.
What business did he say? Did he say?
No, just small business. Didn't really say it all. No.
Okay. Well, first of all, you're not starting over, okay? Because you've developed this massive skill set that most people will never develop by applying the things that you've read and learned and listened to into your career for real. All right. I'm going to toot my own horn here. We give away gold here, bro. Like gold. But here's the reality. Most people don't do it. They will listen. They will come to the events. They will go to everybody's, they'll buy everybody's books, go to everybody's retreats, do all this shit, but they don't do what they know to do. And that's the difference. And you have taken the information and you've applied it to your life, and it's made you and reaffirmed to you that these are the things you need to do to be successful. So no matter what, if they close the business today, you still have this experience and this skill set to go provide value to anyone else really doing anything. Because no matter what it is you're doing, whether it's, you're working on cars or you're building a house or you're working in IT or AI or CPG or any of this shit, the principles of success are always the same. So you are not starting over. So just remember that. And a lot of people won't change their career paths because they're afraid of starting over, not realizing that they're not going to start over because of all the experience they've had. Yeah. They're going to go right into wherever they go, and they're going to provide a bunch of value, and they're going to move the fuck up real fast if they get in the right place. And that takes some discernment. But if you want to stay where you are, you probably are going to have a talk with the owner and say, and this is what I would say, and this is real shit, okay? Owners get tired. They get tired, all right? Running a business is hard. I've been doing what I do for 26 years now. I'm tired, bro. I'm not doing it for myself anymore. The only reason I go hard anymore is for everybody around me. It's not about me anymore. And if someone and that's been for about 10 years, just so we're clear. Most people never come to that understanding that they have an obligation to the people around them. They just never figure it out. And that doesn't mean they're bad people. They just don't think about it because that's not what society says. There's no business guy besides me telling CEOs, hey man, you have an obligation to your employees to create a good life for them too. Most people that are operating a business look at their employees as if they are just cogs in the wheel. Hey, fire that guy. Hey, replace that guy. Hey, do this. And then they ask me, well, how can I build a great culture? Well, you can't because you don't give a about your people. Okay. So, and that doesn't mean they're bad people. That means they've never opened their eyes to that reality because it's not what people talk about. So having a conversation with him saying, hey man, we've put a lot of effort and time into this business, and we care a lot about it. And, you know, we notice that you're kind of slowing down, and we get it. Like, you've been doing this a long time. You could do whatever you want with your business, but that kind of puts a limit on what we're trying to do, man. And I'm not like threatening you or anything like that, but we would like to continue to grow the business.
We'll keep kicking ass.
Yeah. So is there a way that we could continue to grow the business and, you know, pick up some of this weight that you've been carrying for so long and continue to grow our careers, and then have that conversation with him? If he says no, then, you know, you say, okay, well, I have to look out for myself. And, you know, then that becomes a different conversation of where you're going to move on to or what you're going to do. But a lot of times communication just solves these things, man. Having a real talk. Hey, we've been working really hard for this business, and we noticed we went from 9 guys to 3 guys. Are you checking out?
Are we good?
Yeah. Or do you have another plan? Oh, well, you know, I'm getting older, and, you know, we're pretty good, and I want to spend time with my family, and this. Okay, cool. How would you feel about us taking the reins? Do you trust us to run the company? We could do this and this and this, and then go to them with a plan. Because, dude, a lot of guys, they don't feel like their team actually wants to grow the shit. They, you know, a lot of owners, bro, they're dragging their team. And, dude, I'm telling you, when you drag people and it's heavy. So presenting him with an opportunity to grow the company with your effort and your teammates' effort is probably going to be well received by him if you go to him with a plan. So that would be how I address it first. I would go have a conversation. I would have a plan. Hey, we can do this. And then, you know, I would see what he says. And if he says, no, I'm not interested in that, you know, I would say, okay, well, is there an opportunity for us to buy the company from you? Would you finance us to buy the company from you so that we continue going? Would you lay out the options of what potentially could be? And, you know, maybe something will happen. And if it doesn't happen, like I said in the beginning, you're not starting over. You already have a skill set. You've been doing very well with it. So you go find somewhere that you can fit in that is committed to growing. I would say too, also, you guys have to be very selective about where you go to work as an entrepreneur. You know, not all careers and jobs are not created the same. Being with a company, especially a small to a mid-sized company that wants to grow and win, is a huge deal.
It's rare.
It's rare, and you have to be able to identify it as an employee. Otherwise, you'll waste your life, right? Is the company moving forward? Are they trying to grow? Do they have big goals? Or is the owner 20 years in and kind of just happy where they are? If you sign up to go work for that second option, you're automatically capped by the owner's lack of initiative to grow the company at this point in time anyway. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
So
I
just a little add-on to that question is you guys have to understand that you have to be aware of the direction of the company before you take the job if you want your career to grow. And I think a lot of people are just like, I got the job. If you just got the job and the place is dying, it doesn't do you very, very much help. You know what I mean? It's not very good.
No.
So
I like the point too about, I mean, even because it is a mind, you have to shift your mindset. But like, you know, let's say, you know, your company cut 3 people out, right? Well, that's 3 salaries that are open now. So can I do some work that they were doing that, you know what I'm saying? Like, can I make myself more valuable?
Yeah, but it's not just money, man. Yeah. It's long term. Like, yeah, you might get a raise, and even if you got a 50% raise today, is that all you ever want?
Yeah. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's deep.
It doesn't, this person here does not sound like they are going to be satisfied regardless of how much money they make. I know a lot of people come to work and they want to make money, but there's also a different kind of person. There's the kind of person that wants to build and wants to create and wants to become and evolve and grow. And the money's great, but more so they want to contribute to something that's building.
Yeah. And
there's not many people like that, but there's enough, and he sounds like one of them, whoever that wrote that in.
Yeah, they just love the fucking game.
Yeah, there's people that do. I'm like that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily care that much about the money at this point, you know? Now, That's because I have some, but you know,
Yeah.
but the reality is like all the things I'm doing for a purpose. They're not for the paycheck.
Yeah.
And, you know, I found that to be much more fun and fulfilling. I'm having more fun now than I ever had. And I don't even take a paycheck for my companies anymore. I'm having more fun. I come in here, I work with the teams, I have fun with them, you know, I help them grow. And it's because the mission. It's the mission, it's the purpose, and I think, you know, when we look at people who are depressed and unsatisfied with their lives, the number one thing that we can identify is that they work very hard with no real purpose. You know, like it's very
Doing
hard.
all this work for what?
Yeah. Like, dude, working hard is not the only thing that matters. You have to work hard with an outcome in mind. If you show up to work hard and there's no long-term outcome in mind, whether it be more money or whether it be a purpose or whether it be some sort of mission, you're going to get burned out, bro. Like, you're going to hate your life because it's just straight monotony with no reward. And we can go, like all of us do, and hit the rock as hard as we can every day. But once in a while, we want those rocks to break, you know? And if you never have one that breaks, dude, you're going to burn out. So you have to, you know, be cognizant of that, you know? And then there's jobs that pay a lot but don't have a mission, you know? And that's the same thing.
Those same people are unhappy too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to be miserable, dude. And maybe it's different for you. Maybe your mission is outside of work. Maybe your job allows you to finance your ability to travel and do missionary work or something like that. Yeah. But you got to have a purpose, bro. And the purpose has to be real. And so many people just don't have one because our society doesn't really cultivate purpose. There's not a lot of companies that are purpose-driven. Now they're becoming more and more popular because the younger generation has identified that that's how they want to work and live. They want to work, but they want to work towards something, not just towards a paycheck. But it's still few and far between. And if you look at how our society is portrayed in the propaganda, which is our television shows and our movies, what's it do? It says you wake up, you go to work, you go home, you eat dinner, you go to sleep, you wake up, you go to work, you go home, and it's just this repetitive cycle. No one talks about what we're actually trying to accomplish and what we're trying to do. Like, even with this podcast, we have a mission. Our mission is to open motherfuckers' eyes to their role in truly revolutionizing culture, okay? Our mission here on this podcast is to create the understanding that we will never fix society unless you fix yourself. We do that through personal development. We do that through awareness of what's going on in the world. And then we do it through comedy. Okay. So everything that I'm involved in has a purpose. And I don't think people think about that enough. They don't think about, like, what am I trying to do here? And the ones who are just trying to make money, it really never lasts. Now, there is people that, like, all they care about is money, but that's just not most people, man.
No, I love it, man. Love it. I love it. Well, we got one more question. Let's get a call in here. Let's get Tommy on the phone. Let's give him a call.
Hello.
Tommy.
Hey.
What's up, dude?
What's going on, DJ?
Oh, nothing much. You got Big Andy here.
What's up, Tommy?
How's it going, guys?
Good, bro. How are you?
Not too bad for a Friday, man.
Not too bad. Where are you calling from, Tommy?
From Oxnard, California, man.
Oh, sick.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily align with all these politics over here. There are some good people out here.
We're just teasing you, bro. California's a great place. It's just there's enough crazy people to make it crazy.
The weather's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. It's the best weather ever.
Yeah. It's nice, 75 degrees right now.
Oh, man.
Beautiful.
Sun shining, man.
That's what's up, dude. So what can we help you with today?
So just a little background story, man. I a project manager / superintendent for an underground pipeline company out here.
Oh.
And I've been
Tommy's
with this
laying the
company
pipe.
for about
Pipe layer.
Hey, that's my best pickup line at the bars, bro. Just lay pipe for a living.
Oh shit.
Anyways, yeah. I've been with this company for about 10 years. I started at the bottom as an apprentice and kind of worked my way up all the way to the position I'm in now. But this crew that I have an issue with, I've been with them for the past 5 years, and they started working under me, and they made a stupid decision that kind of cost us our reputation. And now the owner wants an answer out of me. So what am I going to do as far as firing or reprimanding the whole crew, or just foreman in charge? Problem is, one of the main guys in charge of that crew is my dad. So it's like, okay, how do I kind of approach this?
Well, what happened?
We're installing a new water system for a good customer of ours that we've been doing for about past 5 years. They took a shortcut and they tried to hide it. And then one of the inspectors came back and saw it and blasted us all over emails and everything, saying we're trying to them over and hide stuff from them.
What have you guys done to try to make it right?
So far what we did was we took the whole crew off that job right now. And I ended up putting a new crew out there, a new foreman in charge. And that's kind of where we're at right now. But the developer, they want answers of what we're going to do.
So do you have any indication of how this actually happened? Like who made the call on it?
So far, what I got out of it is it's the 4 people involved: the foreman, the lead guy, my pops, and one of the other guys.
So your dad was involved in it?
Yeah.
That sucks, bro. So what is your superior saying exactly?
They just said, it's your choice. You handle it how you're going to handle it, and I'll back you up. But they're leaning more of firing the one man in charge. But to me, you would just fire one person or everybody who made the mistake, or just reprimand them, not necessarily get rid of them.
Is this the first time that this has happened?
Yeah.
Do you know that for sure?
It's the first time getting caught, I believe.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm sure there's other issues where they kind of ran into and shortcutted things and didn't get caught, but I feel disappointed because they were my guys back then, and my standard's not that.
Yeah. And so it comes down on you. I get it, bro.
Yeah.
That's super hard to deal with. Like I was actually just having a conversation earlier, kind of similar to that, not where it's very hard when people that are on your team don't hold the standard and then it falls back on you. And as a leader, that happens literally every time. That's the role of being a leader. And so I can understand how frustrating that is. I guess the thing that I would be concerned with if I were you and I were your superior would be, is this an opportunity to where they can learn the lesson and never do it again? And if so, then a reprimand may be appropriate. And here's why. Because a lot of people will just fire a crew, okay? They'll say, okay, you're all fired. But the problem with that is that when they hire a new crew, the new crew will end up doing the same thing again because they didn't learn the lesson. So the question becomes, did they learn to not do this, and why? And can I trust that they won't do it again because of that? And I can look at this as a cost of their education and development, or is this egregious enough to where I have to fire them? And so I have a similar, not the exact same thing, but I could tell you a million stories, but I could think of one off the top of my head. One time back in the early days of my business, we were ordering t-shirts, and we ordered $12,000 worth of t-shirts. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but for us at the time, that would have been the equivalent of us ordering $10 million worth of t-shirts. It was a lot for us. And the person on my team that ordered the shirts did not measure the proper size on the back of the shirt. So when we got the shirts, the logo was so big on the shirts that we couldn't even use it because it looked ridiculous. And it was all because she didn't measure it properly. And at first, my instinct was like, I'm firing her. This is bullshit. This cost us 12. But then I thought about it and I'm like, okay, is this going to happen again if I hire a new person? And the answer is probably. So if I were you, I would determine with your superior, I would take your dad being a part of it out of the equation, okay? Because there's nothing you could do about it. He already put himself in that position. When it comes to these kind of things, there's a way you can do it, and there's sometimes you can't do it. So take the emotional part of it out of the equation and look at it very simply like this. Are they going to do this again if we keep them? And if you guys determine that they will, then you got to get rid of them. If you can make it to where you know they won't do it again, then you should look at this as an investment in their development, realizing that if you hire a new crew, they're going to find ways to cut corners anyway. If you've been leading anybody for any amount of time, you know that everybody finds a way to cut corners because it's human nature. Very few people will not try to find a way to cut corners. And so the question really becomes, can we save ourselves this mistake again, or are we for sure going to have it again with a new crew? And that's how I would look at it. So if you can reprimand them and be assured that they're not going to do it ever again, then a reprimand would be appropriate. If this is the nature of those guys and they're going to shake their head yes and then go do it again and cost the company the reputation, then you got to get rid of them. But I think it'll happen again with a new crew. So that's what I would talk to your superior about. I say, hey, look, here's the situation, man. I thought this through. I appreciate you letting me sort of think this through on my own. And here's what I've come up with. If we hire a new crew, we're probably going to end up dealing with this again because they're going to cut corners. And I don't want that. But I'm a little concerned that if we keep these guys, that they're going to do it again because they already did it. So how can we make sure that they don't do it again? That way we don't automatically run into it with a new crew. And that would be the way to, salvage your dad's career and also, do right by the company. And then on top of that, there needs to be some extra form of goodwill to try and correct this with the customer. And I don't know what that is because I don't know enough about your business, but it needs to be made right. So that's how I would look at it if I were you, bro. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. 100%, man.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I've led thousands of people over my career, and people make mistakes. People do dumb shit. Sometimes they don't even have a good reason for it. But as long as they don't do it again is what really matters, because hiring new people, training new people, that shit's expensive. It's hard. It takes time. And if they are able to learn the lesson right there on the spot, sometimes you got to give them a smack on the ass, figuratively, but, it's still cheaper than finding a new crew. It's just math.
I mean, let me ask you this, Tommy, while you're on the phone too, Andy, is there anything from his position as a leader that he can learn from this? You know what I'm saying? Tommy, do you think this was a situation where your eye was kind of off the ball, not really on the team, not really, making sure the day-to-day stuff was going on? Like, what's the learning opportunities for Tommy in this situation?
Well, I mean, look, I'm going to tell you from my experience is that if you take your eye off the ball and you don't have the systems in place to assure that things are done specifically perfectly, you're going to always drift off the mark. Mm-hmm.
Always have speeders.
For sure. So unless you have a governor on the truck.
Yeah, right.
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 So, which is
Right.
which is why work trucks have GPS and governors.
Yeah.
Because they have to. They can explain to their people all they want. Hey, don't drive like an asshole. It hurts the company if you do. But guess what? They still got to do it. So that's actually a great example. So they still put GPS or they put governors because they know.
Yeah, that little sticker on the back, call if
that's
how's
right,
the driving. Yeah.
So systems scale and systems regulate. And when you have a team that is moving off the mark, when you take your eye off of them, that keeps you from being able to scale, because every time you turn the other way and try to grow, they f up. So what that tells you is that you need a system to regulate their compliance on the procedures. So I don't know what that is in pipe laying,
Yeah, for sure.
but that would be a systematic procedure or checklist or certification, something that allows for Tommy to have 100% assurance that that does not happen. And so a lot of times, and bro, this is a really good point. A lot of times these things are really good opportunities to fix holes in your company's game that you didn't see before. So yeah, bro, that's how I would handle it, man. It's, if they're going to do it again, you got to get rid of them. If they're not, it's an investment in their education, because if you hire a new crew, they're for sure going to do it again. That's how I look at it.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what I'm going to do then. I'm heading back to my office right now. I'll go talk to them. So
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's a tough situation, but look, man, this isn't anything that anybody that leads is unfamiliar with. Like, everybody that leads people knows about these situations. So have a talk with your boss, give him the rundown, give him your concerns, ask him for his guidance. And then ask him what he thinks about the system that should be in place to regulate and make sure. And what that's going to look like too, bro, is it's going to make you look like you really thought it out. And he's going to appreciate that, bro. Like, I would start the conversation with, like, look, I know you're going to think that I don't want to fire these guys because it's my dad. But here's what I think. Okay. If we fire them and we hire a new crew and run this things the exact same way, this will likely happen again eventually. And we don't want that. If we are able to assure that this crew will not make that mistake again by punishing them in a way that's severe, but not so severe that it costs them their jobs, are they able to learn that lesson and not do it again? And then on top of that, what system can we put in on top to make sure no matter what, it doesn't happen? That's a well thought out strategy. If somebody came to me with that, I would say, all right, this guy gets it. He's a good leader.
Yeah.
So, and then, take responsibility for it. Hey, ultimately, bro, this is ultimately Mr. Boss. This is my fault. Okay. And, here's what I think we need to do to fix it. And I think if you handle it that way, bro, it's all going to work out good.
Love it, man. Time to the pipe layer.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, it won't be the last time you're dealing with something like this, so it's a good learning opportunity for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. 100%, man. But I just want to say thanks, dude. I'm on my third 75 hard and I try to do it every year.
Yeah,
but,
that's awesome, bro.
I'm where I'm at now because of you guys.
That's awesome, brother. Well, good work, dude. Keep it up. And, I hope this will all work out for you, man. Just, run the play I just gave you, dude. I think that's the right way to do it.
Awesome, man. Will do.
All right, brother. Well, you have a good afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon, bro.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, see you, Tommy.
See you, Tommy.
Yeah. I like that. And I think too, like, you got to keep the dad relationship out. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it shouldn't. It's unfortunately, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's business, man.
I mean, a lot of times people get in business with their family, and their family is the one
biggest speeders
that ends up ruining it. Yeah, because they know they can. So
yeah.
Look, it's human nature, man. People try to cut corners. They try to make things easier. They don't understand that by doing things perfect every time, you're instilling a habit in yourself that carries into every area of your life. it's unawareness. You know, I don't understand why this matters. I don't understand why I should have to do it right. And this is a good opportunity to show people why it should be done right.
Yeah, 100%, man.
You know, it's tough when people do that, especially when you care about them, bro. I mean, I've had a number of situations over the years where people that I've really cared about have made really bad ups. And sometimes I've had to fire them. Sometimes we've been able to make sure it never happens again. It just depends. Are they going to understand why this can't happen, or are they not? And you'll know when you talk to them.
Yeah, 100%, man. I love it, man. I love it. Guys, Andy, that was 3.
Yep.
Hell of a way to start a week, man.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, let's go out. Let's kick some ass, and we'll see you tomorrow on CTI.